reproduce!
Hello, you fucks. Welcome to John Solo's Beard Brigade. I'm John Solo. You are not. So, lesson learned. I can't play Jimi Hendrix before the show as bumper music because it stops the stream. There's a couple of them we can't do that with. I learned. I won't do it again. Don't you worry. Hello. Hey, I was in Discord this morning working on the last sessions for Mingo, Mingo 5 through 8, which is, these books are hilarious. By the way, Jody and I tonight, we are working on the hula pie recipe for Mingo. Anyone that knows the Mingo series will know what this is. It's a hula pie. They made it in the beginning of the book. So we're going to make the hula pie tonight. The kid, the old white chocolate, is coming over tomorrow, him and his girl, and we're going to have dinner, and we're going to serve them the hula pie, and we're going to get reactions from everyone so we can see how they like it. So that's in honor of little AJ Llewellyn, we love her to death, and Mingo. Now, after that this week, we're actually jumping over real quick to an LA Wit project. It's a dual narration. I'm doing that with Mike Fairley, however the fuck you say his name. I don't even think he can say it right. And then, after that, we've got some Patty Logan coming up. Got some Kellex coming up. We've got quite a few projects coming up. We are hopping right now. It's very exciting. So, we're going to, Susan, I see your comment in there, and we're going to talk about that when we get my guest on the air. Now, I've been doing my best to do my show research before, the show prep. So typically, the way it works is 5 minutes before the show, I look up the person's bio. That's my show prep. Today, I'm going to read it. Everyone loves when I read their bio because no one updates these things ever. Sean Crisden is a multi-talented actor and an audiophile earphones award-winning narrator who has recorded audiobooks in almost every genre, from science fiction to romance. He's also voiced characters in numerous video games, such as the award-winning Shadowgun, and appeared in many commercials and films, including The Last Airbender. A native of Philadelphia, PA, Sean now resides in Phoenix, Arizona, and is hot as hell. And I mean that by the temperature, not by how he looks. Here he is, everyone, Sean Crisden. Hello, Mr. Crisden.
Hello. I feel like there should be, I should be applauding that.
Yeah,
no. I haven't updated that bio in a long time. I don't know anything about it.
Tantor, last track I had, for some reason, Tantor took mine down, and that's where I got this one. And they asked me for a new one recently, and I gave it to them. I don't know if they put it up again here or not. I'm going to do a search real quick. We're going to see. John Solo. Nope, no bio. Just a shit ton of books.
Barely exists.
Exactly. I don't work there.
But that's a good reminder. I'm going to make a note for myself to redo my bio, because I won an Audie award. That's stuff, right?
So how does that
update that?
I've not. Now, I was a member. Sorry, I'm attaching my earbuds again. It's APAC,
I thought you were
right?
just plugging in your cerebral cortex uplink to the feed.
I was doing the sexy pose where I do this with my, how everybody on every fucking romance novel.
This explains why I suddenly started sweating. I get it.
How do you do? You're a member of APAC, right, or the APA? So is that how you are qualifying for the Audis and?
Well, I'm actually not a member of the APA. I used to be many moons ago, and now I'm not. So I don't believe, unless now I've just revealed some terrible secret, and now they're going to scratch my name from all books of record. I don't believe you need to be a member of the APA. Apparently not, anyway.
I did
so.
Know that.
No, you don't. You just need. Really, it works in conjunction with Audiophile Magazine, and you just need solid reviews, maybe a lot of support and momentum behind a particular title, which usually happens. I mean, obviously, behind the scenes, there's some seedy politics, I would imagine. I don't know. Don't quote me on it, guys. But that's apparently how it works. It shocked the bejeebus out of me, I'll tell you that. But
how does that work?
Thankful.
Do you get a phone call from someone famous? I mean, do they bring a big check
phone
to your house?
Rings. No, it's I didn't go this year to the Audie Awards. I went. The last time I went actually was probably 6 years ago, which I need to get back because I have lots of friends in New York anyway that I need to visit, and that's a great excuse. But I didn't go because I said, I'm an introvert. I'm home doing my thing in the crypt, and watched the live stream, and then I stopped because I have a crazy 4.5-year-old. So then I was dealing with him, and I said, well, I'll watch the replay or something. And then suddenly, the old social media started lighting up for me, and I'm getting all these notifications. I'm like, what? Who won? I won? Me? What? Is this wrong? So that was how I found out. You know, Ed McMahon didn't show up bringing a check from beyond the grave. That would be pretty scary. He'd be some kind of zombie ghoul. But yeah, that was it.
What do you think Ed McMahon would sound like at this point, being a zombie ghoul? Could you do like a zombie ghoul Ed McMahon?
Well, let's see, because you get the ha 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 yes, but now he's a ghoul, so you yes, and you'd get Johnny. Oh well, yeah, that's
Oh fuck, I love it.
I
See, I
don't
wouldn't
know.
have done it if I knew you were going to be sport. I knew. So I was actually
Any
signed
chance
up
I get to make an ass of myself, I'm all for it.
You're a pretty good ass, man, from what I hear. A few years ago, I was going to go.
Thanks, man.
I did not attend, though. I've not attended an APA, and I'm so far off of fucking oddies and that I have no idea how the system even, none whatsoever. It fascinates me. The way I figured it was you had an agent. The agent was like, look, to get you some more traction in the industry, Sean, here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to start, we have to pay, a fee for them to listen to the book. So like $1,000. And then after that,
Which is paid in a dark alley.
Exactly.
At unseemly hours of the night is when the fee is paid.
That's what I thought it would.
Limber up first.
I mean, how wide can your jaw go? Which one's pink?
Exactly. Well, have you seen a snake? And this is that, what is it, the pharyngeal jaw that just unhinges or whatever it is that happens? Yeah, I've got talents.
The 4.5-year-old, I got to ask you, man, because I have a child. Mine is actually 26. He's far.
See, you did it right. You did it right. You got in on that early adopters plan. And I'm late after all the hype has died down. And arthritis has begun to set in, so it's a different experience.
How has this changed you, especially in the last? I mean, there's a huge leap from year to year right now in this child's development. How has it changed you in the last year? What has really changed for you?
Well, I have to preface it with the idea that I never intended to have children. I knew that I never wanted children, right? So this is when you start playing the somber music behind it, the rousing somber strings and little, But I always knew that I was too I was too selfish, basically. I knew enough about myself to know I was too selfish, and that I just wanted to pursue the things I wanted to do and didn't want to be a parent. Apparently a parent.
Wow.
And then I met my wife, and she agreed, and she was chasing her career. And then a switch flipped in her brain after she turned 40, and she decided, she had to have children. I must reproduce, so it was fighting against that biological clock. So after much debate and threats to my well-being, I decided to undertake that journey. And I'll tell you what. Now that I'm 4.5 years in my 40s, I have to say this, that thinking about what I originally thought about having children and looking at the situation now, I came to realize finally that I was absolutely right in my original assumption that my kiddo, all that being said, is a wonderful kid, and I'm embracing fatherhood as best I can. But it's challenging because I'm an older parent, and he is a limitless ball of energy that I am not. So by the time 7:30 p.m., 8 o'clock comes around, which is right around his bedtime, my energy reserves are depleted. I am of no use to this mortal realm, and it's all I can do to get him in bed and to get myself in bed. So it's definitely a challenge.
We've got a couple really good questions here, but I got to ask. So the self-care that you used to
Uh-huh.
do. And coming into your 40s at this point, you got it down, man. You know how to take care of yourself. And, it takes maybe a couple hours a day, and you got to work out, and you got to eat right, and,
Uh-huh.
maybe
Uh-huh.
some supplements here and there. And, you got to,
All
and
true.
you want to keep being able to eat tacos long term. So we got to do these things, right? Then you have a child later on in life, and all that goes to the fucking hills. I mean, it really, like, you're just mowing in front of the refrigerator, hoping the child doesn't see it so you don't have to share it. Shit like that goes on. I've seen it, man.
Oh,
So,
well, I've instituted in the household a daddy tax. So the daddy tax is important. So anytime there's food that the child has, that my spawnling has, then there's a daddy tax, and daddy gets some of it, especially if it's something good. Now, he lives on a diet that he basically subsists off of chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, and cookies. And it's a challenge because he's somewhat lactose intolerant. So the mac and cheese and pizza, of course, the perennial childhood favorite, is definitely a challenge. But the daddy tax has helped. Understanding that at this point in his life and his understanding of the world, I can still outsmart him. So this some shrewd tactics are involved in maintaining the hierarchy and the flow of the household so that it doesn't descend into complete chaos, which it probably will within the next 4 or 5 years, give or take. But
oh, yeah.
fortunately, I mean, my wife is wonderful. She does a lot of the heavy lifting because I'm insane. So she makes it work. And I usually tell people, hey, I just work here. I just come in, I fix things, I crack the occasional dad joke, and play with the boy. That's what I call him the boy, and I say, "Boy, where are you?" And he'll respond and yell at something. Father, I am upstairs. Please come hither. You know.
The
So
changes,
yeah,
you're coming into a good stage, dude. You really are. I agree with
it's
you.
absolutely a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
wife.
we got
though.
past the twos and the terrible twos and the three-nager stage, and he's spirited. Isn't that what the old teachers would say? Oh, yes, that child is very spirited. They'd say these sort of things. He's definitely spirited, but he's super smart and super observant, and even at this age,
Oh, that's
displays
hilarious.
an uncanny amount of empathy for other creatures and people, which is great. Uh, but he's a lot of fun, and he has this really bad sense of humor that he thinks is hilarious, which in turn makes it hilarious. He'll tell a joke. I will quote one of his jokes, so I don't want to steal his
I can't
material,
wait
so
to
I'm
hear
giving
this.
him credit.
All right.
Why did the fly, and he makes them up, so he's made these jokes up. Why did the fly go into the belly button?
I don't know why.
Because he wanted to see the poop. That's what I have to deal with. That's it. That's the punchline, man. And he will then crack up, and he has a buddy that's basically his doppelganger who from school. And when they get together, they just tell each other these ridiculously bad jokes. I mean, they're simply nowhere in the realm of humor or funny or a punchline. But they love it, and that in turn makes me love it because it's hilarious. Now I actually kind of think they're sort of funny.
Yeah,
So
no. It's going to be a good kid. A chip off the old block. One of the people just mentioned here. I didn't know. Are you working on a podcast? You had mentioned earlier off air that you were maybe going to get into this a bit more. Somebody's enjoying your JIAM, or do you say GAM? I'm not cool, Sean. I'm sorry.
I don't know wait, they're enjoying my JIAM.
AM podcast. I've been enjoying your JIM podcast. That was Betty T. We love her to death. She's also a reviewer.
What do I
She
do?
reviews some
Have I
stuff.
done
don't
something?
know.
I don't know what
maybe
I'm,
you have.
I have daddy brain too, so I don't. And
Dude, she was talking about. Okay, there's another narrator in the audience, James.
Awesome.
Cheatham.
Okay,
James.
I was like,
James,
what did I do?
He was on
it
a couple
good?
weeks
I hope
ago.
it was
Yeah,
good.
yeah. It's James's podcast,
Awesome.
dude. Well,
hey,
no,
James.
and he linked me the podcast, and I haven't fucking watched it yet. I'm horrible about that. You ever get that happen where
I was
somebody
just
gives
telling you
I
before
do
we went
bad.
live that I'm horrible about pretty much everything having to deal with my public social media persona. Right now, I'm in deep doo doo because I took a huge break from social media about 4 weeks, and I'm just getting back to it now. In fact, this is sort of my kickoff to being alive. That I'm showing people that I still exist. I haven't fallen off the earth. in particular with some of my video game fans, that I just had a contest and it ran and it ended 4+ weeks ago. And I haven't announced the winner, and I need to come on and do all of these things. And I've been getting pummeled with DMs and things that I'm not looking at that right now. I'm on a social media cleanse. So I haven't, so I'm coming around to it this week. But yeah, I always mention, I think the last time we were talking, I talk about my general social media aversion to, it's that I'm an introvert, and people don't believe me ever. But yeah, sometimes I just have to shut the whole party down, blow the whistle, everybody gets out of the pool, the lights are flashing, and it's, time to just have quiet time. So that hit me about 4 weeks ago.
It's a tricky game, this social media deal. We see,
Mm.
for me, I had to build it into my schedule. I've had quite a few people reach out to me off the air and say, like, because I'm really active on these things. I'm doing a couple videos a week, that sort of deal. Have been
Sure,
doing it for
yeah,
quite
man,
some time. We got the
you're
YouTube
killing it.
channel. We have this one. I don't do a lot of things real well. One of them, though, is I'm a fucking ham. Just put a camera or a microphone in front of me, and I will keep on entertaining people indefinitely. That's what I do. It's in my nature. So I've had to build it into my schedule. So it's like, it's not really much of an option. Mondays, I'm doing a Talk to the Beard show, and Thursdays, I'm doing the Ramblin'
Right.
show. But the key to it, the entire thing that makes the social media go round, because I did it for about a year myself, and I honestly was burning out. Little Tracy Johns, my lovely TNA, that lady right there, stepped in and started booking the shows, and kind of, she's even really good about doing things like reminding me a few minutes before the show if I haven't made myself. She's like, you have a show, right? I'm like, oh, yeah. She's good about that too. So it's a wonderful
That's
thing.
today.
Yeah, exactly. In a few hours. Oh my God. Tell me about this social media cleanse. Cheryl's asking about this. I realize that you had to, basically you needed an enema. But tell me,
Yeah, pretty
do you
much.
feel better, cleaner now? Are you ready to proceed and be one with the public?
Well, I still feel pretty dirty, but that has nothing to do
Your
with
skin's
social
fucking
media.
brown, dude. I don't know.
That's right, man. I call it the factory tan. I like it.
It's
It's
low
pretty nice
hanging
out
fruit.
here in the
I
desert,
couldn't
brother.
help it.
It's factory installed. It's all right. I feel better. I had to. It suddenly becomes a sort of, everything coalesces as a bombardment of social media, interacting, the relentless news cycles. I have to stop listening or watching the news, any of those things. Just sort of limit my exposure to external stimuli, and just sort of hit a reset. A little bit of meditation, a little bit of kung fu, eating a lot of barbecue. The important things to get back to the roots of what makes me me. And it was beneficial. I still feel like I can go for a little longer, but I need to come back because I've been neglecting my responsibilities and my duties, and the various fan bases and fandoms that I have, who are really just friends that I enjoy interacting with. But sometimes I do have to step away just to reclaim that bit of myself. And that's basically, okay, let me stay off of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I have a TikTok account. I have never posted anything because the divine algorithm is just needling its way in every time I go on any of these platforms. So I just have to step away for a while to avoid the turmoil induced with outside influence.
It makes perfect
So,
sense, man. We've all gone through this.
yeah.
You're saying words that make a lot of sense to me because I've recently done it. I've had a personal issue in my life that's been ongoing for 6 or 8 months now. That's frankly, I mean, it's taken me out from in front of the microphone way more than I freaking want. It is what it is. We have to deal with these things. But I've stepped away too from. Now I've still done the shows as much as I possibly can. It gets to be stressful sometimes. try to work that in and the personal life. You've done a magic job of it, but we've talked about this before, and I admire this about you. Aside from your incredible, I mean, I don't know how you get it so symmetrical, your face, but the fact that you keep your hand in a lot of different pots. You're working in game audio. You've worked in film. Your audio books. You're doing a lot of different things. You're still a musician. You're moving from one thing to another through the course of the day instead of just staying in front of the microphone. And I believe that maybe it's one of the keys to your success. Are you still able to do that?
Yes, that's a great question, actually. And and it comes down to what I typically say is what fulfills me as a living creature, a large part of that is creativity. So I say, I drink from the creative well, and I must create something. So wearing all of those different hats helps me to fulfill that in all of the ways that I need to. It's not necessarily the medium that matters as much as me needing to create something and to exercise some pull it from the ethers of the world and the cosmic threads, dude, and just create. So that, and even I'm woodworking now. I do a bit of woodworking. I have lost no limbs yet. Check with me the next time I'm on. No digits, but even that there's something that is satisfying at a fundamental level to take raw lumber, raw wood, and shape it into a thing that either has aesthetic pleasing beauty or form and function for whatever intended purpose you make. And that thrills me. And then the art behind woodworking and joinery and all of these items is fun for me. So that just appeals to who I am. And I think that's what keeps me going. Now, it also is it's a double-edged sword. I know, nobody knew that, but because jack of all trades, master of none, yada yada, I feel like I'm constantly throwing things at the wall in all of these different arenas to not necessarily to see what sticks, but just to do it for funsies. And sometimes I need to focus and I need to spend time and energy directed at a specific goal and task and medium, which is why I've mainly focused on my voiceover. Music, I played a lot of music, but now I've resolved that it's just for fun for me. Visual art is for fun for me, and it's the things that I need. And even woodworking is for fun. So that helps to frame them within a context of, well, I got to keep the lights on, so I better make some more funny voices, so that sort of thing. But even within VO, I'm doing video games, I do e-learning, I do audiobooks, obviously, and other types of long-form narration. I do article narration, which actually brings me to a point that I wanted to talk about with you and everybody listening and watching. With the advent of AI, we're going to see a huge shift in the voice acting world, since that's what applies to us, but also in the world at large with other jobs. But it's been something I've been keeping an eye on rather closely, and it's going to be challenging for a lot of talent, especially those who aren't established and folks who are up and coming, to get a foothold, because it's going to be very difficult to compete with a rapidly evolving tool that's getting better with new iterations daily, essentially, and look at the fundamentals of cost and efficiency for good enough. And eventually it's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's an inevitability that it will absolutely be competing with human voices, and no one will know the difference. Not necessarily a bad thing, from a certain perspective, but certainly for those of us who make a living at it, it's going to be harder to make that living, especially for those who are unestablished and don't have people cheerleading them and coming for them.
Yeah.
I said people coming for them. Am I talking about the books I write?
You
This
got a
stuff
little.
just slips in. I got to keep up with myself.
You got a little white on your mustache there.
Yeah.
It's
milk.
The whole AI thing is really interesting, and I'm glad you brought it up. We haven't talked about it a lot on this show yet. But I've been of the opinion for a long time now. I'm an established actor. People hire me and you at this point for Sean. No one else can be Sean Crisden. And for the love of God, I'm going to go off on a side
we don't need
tangent
another
here.
one. We got
I was
one.
telling
That's good.
I was telling my wife earlier today how much I'm jealous of. Like, you have the golden voice. I have watched. I'm going to tell a little. By the way, Melissa Gremling said to tell you thank you for sending in all those audio samples. And I'm going to tell this.
You're very welcome, Melissa.
So when we play these audio samples on the Ramblin' Gremlin show, I'm able to see Melissa Gremling, her camera off to this, and no one else can see this. I can, and it's not something I would normally share, but she's listening. We were playing one of your samples, and she gets this look on her face. Look very closely. She goes, Just eyes closed, complete content, complete content. Just 3 words in and she's there with your voice. I have to work my goddamned ass off to get there, and 3 words in, just the honey flowing out of your goddamn throat. It's ridiculous. But I digress. People hire you because you sound like Sean Crisden,
Oh.
and that's what they want. People hire me because I sound like John Solo. I've got a reputation. People know what I do. You too. You've been at it a long time. Hundreds of books to your name. Somebody that doesn't have that establishment, I absolutely agree, is going to be a bit more challenging for. But I don't think that AI audiobooks is really the danger. I think e-learning, for sure. Also, perhaps some of the lighter articles, reading, that sort of thing, things that, okay, think about an e-learning
Nonfiction.
course.
Basically,
yeah, exactly.
nonfiction.
Yeah, stuff
Anything that doesn't
like
need
Sean.
characterization.
Now,
So, but here, I'm gonna. Oh wait, I'll let you go. But I have a
no.
bomb.
I actually I see where you're going with it. There is an art to the nonfiction, but I don't think we're going to be getting as much work there. There's no doubt. So, yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
So, I've spent many a night pondering the AI and what it means and the various tools that are currently available and the rate at which they're developing. And I see a future for essentially there will be a new job created. You heard it here first, kids. And that will be, it'll sort of skirt the line between an engineer and an audio engineer and a software engineer. So you're going to need someone who can tweak, you type out your text, and then the AI will generate it with the chosen voice or voice type. And there may even be basic parameters for how you address things like the emotional intensity and projection and subtext. It's not very far off in the grand scheme of things. We're going to see tremendous impact within 12 to 24 months for sure.
Absolutely.
But there'll be someone who I call the AI engineer, essentially, who will not only listen to the performance, but then have the tools. Maybe there'll be little faders. I don't know. I think of sitting behind a board myself, and but even now, most everything's digital. And will adjust the intensity and the performance of certain phrases, certain words within that AI voice. And then it will reach a point where you no longer have to solely rely on the algorithm within whatever AI tool you're using to make those choices. Someone else is going to be making those choices, helping it along, coaching, directing, if you will. It may even be an AI director to pull out the performance, much like we would have in an animation or commercial or video game gig. Like you have a director. So we can't just let the T1000 run willy-nilly with these things, right? We have to have someone to reel them in. Can you make it a bit more banana? These things have to happen. So that is where I see a new job type being created, and that will help to quickly bridge the gap between what we identify as weird phrasing or a lack of appropriate emotional content or impact within some of the things we're hearing even right now. So within 12 to 24 months, that will likely change the landscape. Hopefully we can have, it sounds ridiculous, a human first movement. I mean, it sounds like some post-apocalyptic future dystopian, what, we only want humans here doing these human things, this sort of. But and it's going to take a lot from the listeners and the audiences to make a decision of, do you want these stories being told to you via a human? Do you want to see a human on screen even, fully acting for you and conveying the human experience? Or are we okay with seeing it simulated, but it's real enough? It's certainly, we're in that uncanny valley area right now, but soon that chasm will be crossed. So it's an interesting sociological problem.
That breakdown that you just gave of some of this is actually already possible, okay? In author groups right now, people have been talking, that I've observed, about using AI for an audiobook performance.
Are you sure they're actually people, John?
That's a good point. They
They could
sounded
be bots.
Russian
It's
in
they.
text. They, they
Yeah,
so
the Cyrillic. They've already permeated it. The discussion has already been lost.
if
You've
you
just been talking with bots, John. They're
did you
all
ever see
bots with one goal.
did you ever see They Live with fucking
Yes.
Roddy Piper? Let's put it in the context, dude.
I might need the glasses myself.
That's great.
Obey.
They can play it
Consume.
already to a bit, though. They can actually basically speed up and slow down individual words, which does give at least some part. So I've seen authors talking about this in the group, and it's literally. I suggest you go in and every fourth or fifth word, speed it up or slow it down, and that gives a much more real human. I'm watching it happen already. We are already
Yeah.
starting to get that, so it's coming. And
Oh yeah, for
to
sure.
be honest
for
with you, I'll roll with the punches. It'd be awful nice.
Yeah.
I really do enjoy reading audiobooks, and I think that for people, I think that there will always be a market for that. I think that some of the stuff that I don't know if you ever got this. I know that you still do some indie work. Do you ever have a client approach you, and then, when you quote a price, they ask for something like a third of what you just. That's happened to me quite a few times. I think that those types of books that need to be produced for that price may still be able to be produced, and good on them.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
that's the other element is that it will lower the barrier of entry because sometimes making an audiobook for a smaller author is cost prohibitive. We know that. So it'll lower the barrier of entry and you can put your book out in audio. Now, on the other end, we don't know what the audience reaction will be if they know that it's, CPU 3827-G65 narrating it, but maybe CPU 3827-365 has a following now. I don't know. But so it'll allow more people to gain access to audio for, I think one of the tools, I won't even name names. Haha, take that. Haha, give it back to the bots. I won't name names, but one of the tools, I think their service tier is $330 for a month that will allow you to output 40 hours of audio.
Holy shit.
So by comparison, they could hire me for 40 hours of audio and pay probably
40
somewhere
times
around
more.
$14,000.
Yeah.
And it may take longer than the time it takes that tool to generate. It would probably take me 4 weeks when that tool could generate most of that audio within the day. But also, authors are having trouble because if we've been paying attention, kids, that you'll see that Amazon and Audible are being flooded as of late with AI written genre fiction, because
Yes.
obviously genre fiction is it's predicated upon various beats and rather formulaic to help it fit into that genre. That's what people expect. Well, AI has scraped a lot of that. A lot of these tools understand that and have been trained on it and have now, along with a human editor, there's a deluge of titles that are just pouring in that are obviously AI written or suspiciously close to what would feel like being written by AI, or perhaps a writer who is green. So it's starting to get hard to tell the difference, right? So someone's coming in and they're getting their writing legs and they're learning about narrative forms and how it works. So even that is now becoming a challenge. So
It's an amazing.
the landscape's changing.
Yeah.
We have to be. What's the term? They're disrupting the industry. We have to be agile and ready to adapt. And all these catchphrases and things, but it's true. So we're going to find that things are changing, and we need to be able to adapt and change with it.
That's
so that we can-
exactly, dude. You just hit the nail on the head. We need to adapt and change with it. I do agree absolutely that we should be campaigning for. We should still be able to make human-voiced books. There is a market for it, and if the free market will pay for it, we will continue doing it. And I think they're gonna. But I think there is going to be a market for some of these lesser ones. And again, more power to them. Roll with the punches and keep on going. What I'm hoping doesn't come from all this, and how many freaking ACX gates, Audible gates crap have we, the last 10 years where the entire industry bringing it's like a witch hunt, and like, I don't think I don't think there's any need. I think that it will play itself out. That's my viewpoint on it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's not a zero-sum game. There is plenty of pie to go around. I love pie. So we're we just have to be there has to be a degree of flexibility, and I think personally that this is going to be the type of shift within our civilization that came along the lines of the Industrial Revolution, the automobile, television, radio, the internet. Like, there's going to be a huge shift. It's not going to destroy everything, hopefully. I mean, Skynet became self-aware on, it's not. ah,
Wow.
it's not. It's not such a terrible thing, but I think it's going to usher in a huge shift along the lines of those types of things that we never before thought possible. The only thing I can say definitively at this vantage point that I would say is negative is, you've probably seen the meme going around online that says, "Oh, we thought the future was going to unveil technologies that would allow us extra freedom to pursue our dreams and the very human experience of creating and thinking and innovating, rather than having the technology come and suddenly suck up all the ideas of creativity and innovation and those types of tasks, and leaving the menial brain-numbing tasks for us humans to do." So
We have
it seems that there's it's not quite what the Jetsons promised us. There's no, we're still waiting on our flying cars. eVTOLs are coming, but it's, I think we need to put it in that sort of, look through it with that lens. But of course, it comes down to money. Everything comes down to money, right? What can profit? What can we make money from? And if a tool can make some money while crushing the very souls and bodies of of others underneath it, but we can get a fine profit out of it, then that usually paves the way.
Yeah,
Those
I
souls
wish
and bodies, a fine
if I
powdered
could,
bone dust, if you will.
I'd eliminate the middleman if I could. I would eliminate the pay per hour that I normally charge or royalties, and people could just pay me in cake because I normally buy cake. I like where you were going with that. Dude, you have been, once again, just a fantastic fucking guest. I love seeing you, man. I wish we got time to hang out more, in real life as well. But you live in that fucking pesky
Absolutely.
Arizona desert state, so you're a little ways away from me.
It's a try.
You have to tell everyone what you're working on currently. Tell everybody where they can find you as well.
Yes, all the important stuff. And believe it or not, I usually make an excuse, and I don't know. And I am somewhat prepared. I pulled up my schedule, right? And so I just came out of working on, I've been digging into Riley Hart's The Verse podcast series, which I believe the second book, The Romantic, just hit retail. The first one was The Loner. Great book. It's about guys who are running a podcast and their various quirks and finding love, of course, which is a lot of fun. I've been enjoying that. So I just came out of doing those. I also have wrapped up, for those who are fans of the Ice Home series, Daisy's Decision, which is Ice Home number 16 by Ruby Dixon, with my fabulous co-narrator. That got wrapped up. So that, I think that's in retail now, too. I could be lying to you, as usual. Don't trust me. We did Shayla Black's Wicked as Secrets, which is part of her, is it Wicked and Devoted series? I believe it is. I could be lying in there too, but that was a lot of fun. I think some people find that nice and steamy. What else did we do? I just came, boom. I just finished yesterday, because I was a week behind, because I also had a mouth issue. I had oral surgery, and there was nerve damage, so this whole section of my mouth was numb.
Oh, shit,
In
dude.
fact, this section of the lip is still numb, as an aside. So be careful. Yeah, I was very concerned when I talked to the surgeon. He said, well, we have to pull out that wisdom tooth because it will cause bone loss, and it's got a pocket, and, yada, 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 dental speak. And I said, well, let's do it. And he said, yeah, there's just a slight problem. You may, there may be some nerve damage. I'm going to be really careful. He was really careful. It's just kind of bruised. So I'm actually getting some feeling back. I can speak now. There was about a week and a half that I couldn't really speak well, which was terrifying. and that's when you think about all your life choices. Um, got plenty of time because I'm not talking to myself. But so I seem to be recovering. Nerves heal very slowly, so hopefully in another 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I'll be at maybe 80% with this.
Yeah.
So, but dealing with that. But I got off track from me talking about whatever I'm talking about. I just finished a book called Voice for the Silent Fathers, which is an autobiography written by Eddie K. Wright, who is currently a federal inmate, about basically his life, but the overall theme is how he learned to accept his gay son while he was basically a thug and a street gangster. And that one was pretty remarkable. That one I just wrapped up yesterday. I'm about to do more, the third book in Riley Hart's series, the Verse podcast. I started the Resting Warrior Ranch series, Montana Silence, which is it's a Montana series that has a bunch of basically former military who have started a ranch to help people heal from traumas. And it's this one. Oh man, I think it's the 8th book in the series, and I just came on for the 8th book. Pretty fantastic. That is, I started that yesterday. No, yeah, I did it over the weekend. See, I don't even know what's going on. I'm looking at all the schedule and the notes, and like, when did I do this? And then you're bang, bang, bang on to the next one, and then I believe I have. What do we have coming up? Mir Stanley's Finding Their Heart book 2 and book 3 for that Finding Their Heart series, which is reverse harem kind of thing. So one female, many men. So that one's a lot of fun. Those will be with I think those are with Ava Lucas, who's
Nice.
The inimitable Ava Lucas.
We love Ava.
So those will be great. Yeah, she's fantastic. She's one of my favorite narrators. Then what else do we have here? Got Wicked and Bear from One Night Stand. I didn't prep that one. Uh-oh. But, oh, it happens. It happens. I think it's part of the Wicked and Devoted series. So I think that's the next book because I already did Wicked as Secrets, which I had a smaller part in. So then we'll have the next book in that series. But yeah, that's what's been going on audiobook-wise. And then, I've been doing some video game work, have some animation work coming up as well that just keeps me busy.
Dude, you're rocking it. And you have a website. I think it's like SeanCrisden.goldenvoice.com or something.
I wouldn't go to the website. I haven't touched that. The last time I touched the website was probably when I updated that bio you had, and the website basically crashed. So I threw up a temp website. So I didn't even. The formatting's all over the place. You can go to it if you want to laugh.
Yeah,
a good laugh. And I have it on my to-do list. Look at website. Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
I have one, and I don't update it because I don't. Occasionally, somebody hits it and contacts me. Fine, great, but I'm not looking.
Right.
I'm not really looking for work. So I mean, it's not a deal. But I'm gonna get the hell out of here. I love you, man. Thank you so much for coming on, everybody. I'm
Absolutely.
not working tonight. We'll be back on tomorrow in Discord, and then of course Thursday for the Ramblin' Gremlin show. Have fun, y'all. See you later. And Sean, this is the easy part. All you got to do is wave by to the camera.